Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. We are currently going through the book of 2 Samuel. We're doing this chapter by chapter, and today we are going to be covering chapter 9, which I'll be reading from the NLT version, and then I'm going to share my key lessons at the end. So kindly listen until the end. Also remember to introduce a friend to this Bible summary by sharing this link. Are you ready? Right, let's do this. Chapter 9. One day, David asked, "Is there anyone in Saul's family still alive? Anyone to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" All right, let's pause there. So Saul is the first king of Israel. Saul is the man who had made his life about chasing David and killing him. Jonathan was his son, but Jonathan and David were such buddies. They were marafiki wa kufa na kupona, like literally like blood friends. So at this point, David is like, okay, you guys have become like super famous, have become like super prosperous and wealthy and successful. Is there anyone who is left in Saul's family so that I can bless them and I show them kindness for the sake of Jonathan, who was like my bestie? All right, are we together up to that point? All right, so he summoned a man named Ziba, who had been one of Saul's servants. He said, "Are you Ziba?" The king asked. "Yes, sir, I am," Ziba replied. The king then asked him, "Is anyone still alive from Saul's family? If so, I want to show God's kindness to them." Ziba replied, "Yes, one of Jonathan's son is still alive. He is crippled in both feet." All right, let's pause there. You guys remember Jonathan? Nimewakumbusha. So Jonathan had a son. His name was Mephibosheth. Akimajina, tumuite tu Mephi. His name was Mephi. When Mephi was young, the day that Jonathan died and his father and his other brothers died in battle, when the nurse who was taking care of Mephi heard that, that Jonathan had lost, or they had lost and they had been killed, she grabbed Mephi and she ran away. And when she was running away, to save the son and to just make sure that the son doesn't come and get killed, like Jonathan's son doesn't come and get killed, when she was running away, she dropped Mephi, and Mephi became crippled. So Mephi is crippled. And Mephi again is who? Is Jonathan's son. Are we together up to that point? All right. So Ziba replied, "Yes, one of Jonathan's sons is still alive. He is crippled in both feet." "Where is he?" the king asked. In Lodeba, Ziba replied, "at the home of Micah, son of Amiel." So David sent for him and brought him from Micah's home. His name was Mephibosheth, and he was Jonathan's son and Saul's grandson. When he came to David, he bowed low to the ground in deep respect. And David said, "Greetings, Mephibosheth." Mephibosheth, oh gosh, replied, "I am your servant." "Don't be afraid," David said. I intend to show kindness to you because my promise to your father Jonathan, and I will give you all the property that had once belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will eat here and be at the king's table." All right, let's just pause right there. So I'm imagining if you are Saul's son, as Jonathan was, you would be next in line for the throne. And then so if Jonathan is dead and all the other siblings of Jonathan are dead, which they have been, Mephi being Jonathan's son, would actually be next in line for the throne. If it wasn't like for David, who just came from, I don't know, anywhere. I mean, because that's what it seems like. Sasa where David ulitoka wapi? The throne was in our family. So how did it shift to you? But of course, you guys know how the story of how David became king and how Saul was disobedient to God, and God took away the throne for him and the kingship from him and from his whole family. But can you imagine if now you are Mephi and the king has called you who quote unquote are rightfully the next in line to be king, and you're crippled, and the king has called you to his palace. I mean, it could be that he's pretending he wants to show you kindness, but he wants to kill you because you're next in line. He could just want to kill you and you are done. Hakuna mtu amebaki, like that. There's nobody else who is left in Saul's family. That's it. It's dead, kaput. Everybody is gone. And that's the reason David is telling Mephi, don't be afraid. David said, I intend to show you kindness to you because of my promise to your father Jonathan. I will give you all the property that once belonged to your grandfather Saul. Can you imagine? Just like that, Mephi's life has changed. And you will eat here with me at the king's table. Mephi bowed respectfully and exclaimed, who is your servant, that you should show such kindness to a dead dog like me? Then the king summoned Saul's servant Ziba and said, I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and servants are to farm the land for him and produce food for your master's household. But Mephi, your master's grandson, will eat here at my table. And Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. So Ziba replied, yes, my lord, my king, I am your servant, and I will do all that you have commanded. And from that time on, Mephi ate regularly at David's table, like one of the king's own son. Mephi had a young son named Micah. From then on, all the members of Mephi's household were Mephi's servants. And Mephi, who was crippled on both feet, lived in Jerusalem and ate regularly at the king's table. That's amazing. All right, that's the end of the chapter. So the main occurrence in this chapter is that David shows kindness to Mephi. David reached out to find out any relative that he could bless in honor of Jonathan, and he heard about Jonathan's son, Mephi, who was lame, rather crippled. And he restored Saul's land to Mephi and had him eat at his table. As I mentioned, Mephi had every reason to be afraid of David. As a son of the previous heir to the Israel's throne, he could have been a threat to David's reign. It was not unusual for a new king to kill all the remaining members of a former ruler's family, but David's love for his dear friend Jonathan outweighed all of that, and he wanted to show kindness to any remaining relative. Mephi, Jonathan's physically handicapped son, was deeply moved and totally humbled by David's lavish acceptance of him. In a single moment in life, just like this, his life changed. From that day forward, Mephi would be an honored guest, eating at the king's table as if he was a son of a king. You see, the thing is that the way David searched for any remnant in Saul's family so that he could show kindness for Jonathan's sake reminds me of a verse that is in the Bible. It's in the book of Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, chapter 16, verse 9, which says, the eyes of the Lord search the whole earth in order to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him. This is the same way God in heaven, the same way that David was like, who is alive in Saul's family so that I can bless them for the sake of Jonathan. This is the same way God in heaven is searching for those that are fully committed to him so that he can strengthen them, so that he can bless them, so that he can show up for them, so that he can show off with them. I would want to be counted. I want to be counted among those that he finds. I want to catch the corner of God's eye as he searches the whole earth. And I hope that we would be fully committed to God so that we can catch the attention of God, just like Mephi, and have our whole lives changed in a single moment. The same way that David was looking to bless. And David was like, hapana, mimi nataka kubless mtu kutoka kwa nyumba ya Saul. That's the same way God's eyes are searching the whole earth in order that he can strengthen those that are fully committed to him. It is my prayer that we will be counted. We will be counted as those that catch the corner of God's eye as he searches the whole earth. And I hope that we will be fully committed to God so that then we can catch his attention and have our lives change in a single moment. This is our girl, Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.